2 days back, India welcomed a visitor, Amir Muttaqi. He's the foreign minister of Afghanistan, a country ruled by extremist group Taliban since 2021. Muttaqi is on a 7-day trip to India, which is the first by a senior Taliban leader since capturing power 4 years back. Muttaqi's visit is on as we speak. Today he visited Darul Uloom Deoband, that is an Islamic seminary in Uttar Pradesh's Saharanpur district. For Taliban, this visit was special because many of their leaders studied in Darul Uloom Haqqaniya in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, which was founded on the lines of Darul Uloom Deoband. A huge crowd gathered to welcome the foreign minister of Afghanistan today. Muttaqi thanked the people for a warm welcome and said the future of India-Afghanistan relations is bright. On the diplomatic front, India laid down the red carpet for Muttaqi, welcoming him with full official diplomatic protocols. Muttaqi met India's Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in New Delhi as well. The two sides agreed to strengthen the ties, and India, most importantly, announced that it is upgrading ties with Kabul and reopening its embassy in Kabul. Remember, India, like the rest of the world, doesn't officially, formally recognize the Taliban regime in Afghanistan. But recent circumstances vis-a-vis India's neighborhood and realpolitik meant that India had to formally engage with Taliban and ensure that New Delhi gets its Afghan policy right. In the coming days, Afghanistan's foreign minister is expected to meet National Security Advisor of India, Ajit Doval, and other top Indian officials. So you'll see a lot of commentary on that in the days to come. But for today's story, let's look at a controversy that has raised eyebrows. With all the team, officials, and plans that Muttaqi has got with him, there's one other thing that he has got with him: restrictions on women. It is synonymous with the Taliban, oppressing women one human right at a time. That is part of the way that Taliban thinks. This time what has grabbed eyeballs was how gender bias of the Taliban was on full display on Indian soil. It played out at a press meet where women journalists were not allowed to enter. Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. So yesterday, after meeting with India's Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Afghanistan's Foreign Minister Amir Muttaqi held a press meet with Indian journalists. This was at the Afghanistan embassy in capital New Delhi. And the pictures that you're seeing on your screen tell the story. It's a room full of men. Not a single woman journalist was present in that room. It wasn't accidental, it was deliberate. The Afghan Foreign Minister was there speaking what he had to and wanted to, taking questions from reporters and behaving as if everything is normal. Fact is, it wasn't. Within minutes, several senior Indian journalists who cover foreign affairs took to Twitter to call out this misogyny on display on Indian soil. Suhasini Haider, the diplomatic affairs editor at The Hindu, said that Muttaqi was allowed to bring their abhorrent and illegal discrimination against women to India as the government hosts the Taliban delegation with full official protocol. Suhasini Haider said that this isn't pragmatism, this is supplication. Independent journalist Smita Sharma also called out India's foreign minister for not referring to the horrible plight of Afghan girls and women under the Taliban regime. Geeta Mohan, who's foreign affairs editor at India Today, said that women journalists were not invited to Muttaqi's press conference and said that this was unacceptable. Several journalists also pointed out that all women reporters and journalists had respected the dress code, and yet the Afghanistan's foreign minister did what he did. Reports say some male journalists, Indian journalists who were present in the room, did bring this up with security officials at the Afghanistan embassy in New Delhi, but to no avail. For many in India, it was surprising to see something like this play out, and that too on Indian soil. Yes, the practices in Afghanistan are well documented under the Taliban regime, but fingers were pointed at the Modi government and the Foreign Affairs Ministry led by Jaishankar as to how it could allow Indian journalists, Indian women journalists, to be treated this way. As outrage mounted, India's Ministry of External Affairs responded this morning. They said that they had no role to play in Amir Muttaqi's press conference. New Delhi said that the invitation for the press meet went to select journalists from Afghanistan's Consul General in Mumbai who are stationed in New Delhi for the Afghan minister's visit. News agency PTI reported that the Indian side had suggested to the Afghan delegation that women journalists should be part of the invitees for the event. Clearly, the Afghans did not pay heed to that. MEA also clarified that Afghan embassy territory does not come under the jurisdiction of the Indian government, and hence they can't do anything about it, which is a rather helpless response. Now sure, from a rulebook perspective, the MEA does have a point on that last bit. The Indian government can't do anything about it. After all, Indian government's jurisdiction ends at the embassy gate. It can't interfere or dictate the terms of the embassy of that respective country, which in this case is Afghanistan. But the least that was expected from the Indian Foreign Ministry was a condemnation for all the red carpet welcome to the Taliban leader on the diplomatic front, for all the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao slogans domestically here in India. The MEA's helpless response, where its own journalists are not allowed in a press meet, clearly doesn't send out the right message. The other argument that is being put forth by a section online is this: like, what else do you expect from Taliban? After all, here's a regime that treats its women in the worst form possible. Women in Afghanistan are not allowed to study, they are not allowed to work, their clothing is dictated, and every aspect, in fact, of their life is dictated by the conservative regime of Taliban. Taliban's brutal oppression of women is well documented, like I said. In fact, months after taking over Kabul, Taliban regime banned education for girls above class 6 in September 2021. The Taliban claimed that it did not comply with its interpretation of the Sharia, which is the Islamic law. It has also barred women, that is, the Taliban has barred women from jobs and most public spaces, including parks and gyms. Now, to understand or to just give you a glimpse or an idea of the scale of oppression and treatment of women, here's one instance. In late August, Afghanistan was hit by a massive earthquake. At least 2,200 people were killed. UN estimates say that women and girls accounted for more than half of those killed and injured in the disaster. They also make up for 60% of those still missing, while many survivors live in tents or out in the open. Thanks to Taliban's strict rules, women were left without aid or help for more than 36 hours. That is because the Taliban has something called a no skin contact with unrelated males rule. So under Taliban law, male rescuers are not allowed from making physical contact with women who are not their family members, even in emergencies. So effectively, this rule prevented male rescuers from physically assisting women even in such a dire situation. When Amir Muttaqi, the foreign minister of Afghanistan, was asked about this, he chose to evade. He said every country has its own customs, laws and principles, and there should be respect for that. Muttaqi claimed that the overall situation in Afghanistan has improved drastically since the Taliban came to power in August 2021. In fact, he said that this whole bit on oppression of women was a propaganda.
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वहाँ पे जो निज़ाम है उस निज़ाम आने से बाद इससे पहले 2021 15 अगस्त से पहले रोज़ाना 200 से लेकर 400 आदमी को मरते थे। अभी ये 4 सालों में वैसी एक दिन का भी नुकसान नहीं हुआ है और वहाँ पे अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह क़वानीन नाफिज है, सब लोगों को अपना हक मिलता है। ये जो लोग प्रोपागेंडा करता है ये एक छोटा सा बोलूं या बड़ा सा गलती करता है कि वो अफगानिस्तान से भी गर्ब वाले क्या आज़ादी चाहता है। हर मुल्क का अपना रिवायात है, हर मुल्क का अपना जो उसूल है, कवानीन है, वो उसके मुताबिक अमल करता है। तो इसका माना ये नहीं है कि वहाँ पे हुकूक नहीं देता है।
The controversy in New Delhi also snowballed into a political row, with the opposition training guns at the Modi government. Lok Sabha LOP and Congress MP Rahul Gandhi said that the government's silence in the face of such discrimination exposes the emptiness of slogans on Nari Shakti. Mr. Gandhi tweeted, "Mr. Modi, when you allow the exclusion of women journalists from a public forum, you are telling every woman in India that you are too weak to stand up for them." Congress MP Priyanka Gandhi Varra questioned the Indian government on how this insult to some of India's most competent women been allowed in India, and that's a country whose women are its backbone and pride. Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra too slammed the Modi government. Here's what she had to say.
The Indian Foreign Ministry has laid out the red carpet for this man, this Talibani foreign minister, who has had the gumption to ask for women to be removed from a room where he's having a press conference. And we are giving this delegation official status and providing them protocol. And every male journalist who participated in this press conference didn't utter a word of protest. Are you emasculated? Are you spineless? I'm asking all the journalists who were in that room, the male journalists. This is the ultimate dishonor to the women of India, that our government has participated in this, has been a willing participant, has used taxpayers' money to fund this exercise. were women journalists who have been asked to leave the room. What is going on?
That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.